And now, the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're back again talking about episode 524 here today. Gone Tomorrow? Part 2.
Yeah, why is there a question mark?
I don't know. The AIO wiki has the question mark. The
track list had it too, because I had the
Okay,
album.
the track list did. The official guide does not.
My guess is if they re-released them or whatever, that they that's one of the weird things that they switched.
Yeah.
Because I had this on disc,
right,
and it had the question mark, but I feel like I listened to it on cassette before that.
Yeah,
and
maybe it didn't. Also, if they had released it as the 2-part that they intended to, would have there still been a question mark?
Would it have just been Gone Tomorrow?
Question?
Where are we going? I don't know.
Gone Tomorrow? So yeah,
Going to Old West Fun World.
my favorite place on earth.
Yeah.
Like the previous episode and like the one that follows, it was written by Kathy Buchanan, directed by Marshall Younger.
But not actually.
Well,
there's a mystery director
by,
and
right.
other significant writing changes.
Yeah. It aired a week after the previous episode and is episode 11 on Out of Control, which is album 40.
And albums are 12 episodes.
Yep.
Correct. So
almost always.
So this ends out the album. Which, boy, by golly, man, that would be a rough way to end out an album.
What? Oh,
with this, yeah,
the second
yeah.
part. I mean, there's a third part.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is
yes,
to end it with this would be tough. Do you have any other context information?
Honestly, no. We did so much last episode.
Yeah.
This episode's a little bit more just let's get into it. Roll that promo, Andrew.
Someone is after Whit.
What's wrong? Do you know who the anti-wit is?
That can't be!
Mitch makes a surprising discovery, but just when the case is almost solved.
I see. Then you're compromised, Mitch. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
You're off the case.
Tune in next time as an old nemesis seeks revenge on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
That promo felt very expositional and much more recap than they normally are.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not.
A lot happened. When you have stuff in a series like this, I feel like they do typically give some recapping.
So basically the episode starts out with Mitch getting taken off the case by Borland.
Yeah, which is totally justified.
Totally. Well, because he's compromised.
Right.
As the promo suggests, he's too close to the fire to be helpful in putting it out.
Right. And as we'll see later in this episode,
and also
it comes up that where Borland, or not with Borland, with Charles, where he mentions these aren't just random choices, but that's got to be going through Borland's head right now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Mitch and Whit are too closely connected that this is just some random attack.
Yeah, by some
random.
Guy. Yeah.
I don't know why I...
Gone Tomorrow? Random. That he would do that. And also, from Borland's perspective, Mitch is a valuable recruiting asset, this person that they really want. So obviously they want to protect him. And Mitch is like, nope. Screw you, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going full civilian power, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not.
And it's Mitch is so set on going to the, what's it called? FBI. That it's crazy that he's directly disobeying his boss right now.
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts. Why would you do that? Whatever. Yeah. I'm willing to look past it, I suppose. I like him enough. And then we get Connie and her mom.
Yeah, it's June.
Nuts! She comes back and, is a big character. And, I forgot. One, Connie's mom is awesome. Why is she not on the show more?
Yeah, I mean, I've got mixed feelings about her in this episode, but yeah.
Yeah. She kind of talked crap about Mitch.
It's not great, but... I've
been ditched so often you could fill me with water and call me a canal.
Yep.
That's Mrs. Kendall, and that's the kind of quality writing that makes her not show up often.
But no, I was excited to see her. Voiced by Maggie Malooly.
That's the last name.
Who was an on-screen actor in the 70s, doing a lot of TV and some small film roles, and that is essentially all she's done. Which is crazy then that she's in this show. But
yeah, that is odd.
Yeah.
Why would they? Maybe
also,
like a friend of a friend situation.
yeah, she passed in 2016.
Oh,
so
rest in peace,
yeah.
Connie's mom.
Yep.
I wonder, did they do anything
I
about that
have
in this show?
I don't know. Tweet at me, or actually don't. I don't care that much about current
do a little
Odyssey
bit.
stuff. I mean, I do, but it's more like I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
But
I need to just get a membership to the AIO club so I can catch up, but I can't.
You guys get that reference because I released that cut audio.
I know. Thank you, Dylan.
No problem.
Dear Lord, I just want to give you my money so I can listen to Modern Odyssey. That's all. It's not that bad. I feel like of what I've heard of the newer stuff, like especially listening to the Deep End and stuff, like their espionage stuff and like the Green Ring conspiracy and all that it hasn't gotten worse.
No,
which is impressive.
We'll definitely cover Green Ring and surrounding stuff probably at some point.
Yeah. Connie and her mom is so good, and Connie's talking to her about kind of what she was talking to Joanne about last episode, which was just this whole like how do I navigate this situation, like and she's approaching it so much more maturely, and like hearing from her mom, who we don't always hear from. It's like, yes, Connie, rely on your wiser support systems in this time of strife.
But also, Mama Kendall,
what is your advice? You're such a downer.
Stop. I had a hard time with her, like, because it's so much of her own emotional baggage, which is good writing, but a bummer.
Yeah. Especially to bring her back in, just make her look like a jerk is like...
Yeah, it's not even that she... Like, I honestly can't tell if the show thinks she's wrong or right.
I think that they think she's right. Because here's the thing. Soapbox time. Evangelical young relationships go one of two ways. You get together and life takes you apart or puts something in the way, and you're supposed to give it up because that's God saying don't do it. Or
you get married.
Or you stick it out for like 8 months and then get married because you're both in the capable place to do that. Like max a year of dating, and then like some engagement, and then like then you're married.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It feels, and like I say that like it's such an odd thing because it's like, I mean, as one who's dated in the evangelical church, what is the standard? What do you actually want from me? Like, you don't want me to, but like all of the love stories that I hear about are like, we met in high school and we dated for like 8 years and like all this stuff. Like,
it's like, don't date, but if you're gonna date, marry that person.
Exactly. And it's not even that. It's like, don't date, but if you do date, don't get too emotionally connected because God might not want you to.
Right.
What?
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's a weird thing of June just being like, you know, like there was a point at which my husband loved me this much, and then he ran off, or like your father, or whatever she says, and then he ran off and was interested in someone else. Like that's how men are, and it's like, all right,
cool.
Yeah, it's just like,
you are a jaded woman.
Well, it's the kind of thing where like no one else in the Odyssey world would give this advice, but it's not being portrayed as like her advice is bad per se.
No,
and she does end in a good place where she's talking about giving it some space.
Yeah, and giving it some space, and also like the idea that like, so she says like kids are young and they follow their hearts and stuff like that, and it's like,
yeah,
yes and no, because like you want to be with somebody that your heart wants you to be with. like you know, you can't really be in a super healthy dating relationship if you don't love the person.
Right. Yeah, the thing I think that works best about this is her basically being like, look, like if Mitch goes and joins the FBI and moves out, you hang around here, see what happens. Like,
see what it's
try
made
and
of.
do, you know, she doesn't explicitly say, but like, try and do long distance, see what it's like, then make a decision.
Yeah.
Like, it makes a ton of, like, I completely agree with her in that.
They got soda parlors in DC. Connie can move out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like to not do that immediately because they were talking so much about like needing to take space from their relationship a couple episodes ago, and then they didn't.
Yeah, and then
so
they
now
came
her
back
mom's
to it.
being like, you know, like you don't have to try and make everything happen right now.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're doomed if they leave. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. And then we get the end of the episode punch. So these episodes are just finale after finale.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like, oh, I like the idea that they're setting up, and then we kind of change it, but we can tackle it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah.
Then what?
Agent Boland's been says like, you know, Mitch is off the case. Connie goes talk to her mom. Whit gets his account gets flagged with purchases, with another purchase.
Well, that was last episode.
The TV
that they found out about a purchase from some appliance store, like Ted's Appliances or something. Yeah. But this because that was when they involved the FBI in the first place.
Yeah.
But this is now them. He gets like an invoice or something in the mail, and it's at that point that Mitch is like, oh, we should be able to like figure out where they got delivered. Like if the bill was sent here, it had to be delivered somewhere, and so they
go to the warehouse, and then
they're able to get a warehouse address from someone. I forget how they actually get. They managed to call
he and Whit go to find a place where the TV was delivered.
I think they call up Ted's Appliances or whatever and get the address.
Yeah, and then they end up going to Public Records, I guess is what it's called. City Records.
Yeah, they go to like City Hall.
Yeah,
to see who owned that warehouse and then call that person up.
Yeah,
and the guy is just like explaining that, you know, there was a security team there's not anymore.
Yeah,
over the phone to who knows who this is. This guy, he's literally telling them that is a warehouse I own. I used to have a security team for it, and then we decided that we don't anymore. And it's like, what are you doing? And then he sends them the list of people who work security there with their home addresses. What is this? Yeah. These are two random people. They do not have local police authority. They do not have FBI authority because Borland's
taking off the case.
Mitch. Yeah. Like, what are they doing?
They're just giving it out. They're just giving it out.
I am so mad about this.
This was back when people were friends and you could tell people things in small town. You just give out the personal addresses of your employees to complete strangers who are requesting them for no reason.
No. And
so, my lord.
Yeah. There's tire marks at the warehouse, which they're pretty sure they match the truck that
the Tercel?
No.
Oh, not the Tercel.
When he bought the Tercel, he was driving in a truck.
Yeah.
They now see those. I didn't actually think about that last episode when we were talking about it, but he went to buy a truck in the Tercel, or he went to buy the Tercel. He took a truck.
Yes.
He didn't sell that truck. Mm-mm. Did he have someone else with him?
He says something later in this episode when he's talking to Charles about his mom, and my guess is maybe his mom got in a car accident and he was buying her a car.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
There you go.
That he got his mom a
keen ear for the plight of the common goon. That's me.
Good call there, Andrew.
Thank you.
I like your thinking.
This is what I bring to the pod.
No, but that's genuinely useful information.
All right, and then, so they go to City Records to get.
No, we already covered.
Yeah,
No, we now jump. It's now that we jump to the prison again.
Yes, back to the prison.
The security
Dank
guard.
Central.
Security guard is calling out Charles again.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, oh, we shouldn't be meeting this much, that sort of thing.
I don't know if we discussed it last episode, but the security guard has been smuggling in computers for I almost called him Ray Charles again, Bennett Charles, to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Which he's really good at that. Why did he need Mitch? I don't know.
What do you mean? I'm not tracking.
He does all this like high-tech computer stuff,
Yeah.
but Mitch was working for him.
Yeah, but Mitch was working in like public relations. He wasn't working as like a computer hacker.
Wasn't he though? A little bit. Wasn't there a bit where? Oh, because the FBI thought that he was working. Okay, yeah.
He was working with the FBI doing computer stuff, but not with Charles.
Yeah.
But yeah, Charles, through, I don't know, yada-yadaing technology, can monitor everything Mitch has been doing through using that IP address, so he knows that they are like closing in on him.
Yeah.
And he
finds out.
He's freaking out at this guard, trying to figure out what's going on, and the guard finally is just like, oh yeah, well, I used a lot of that information that we stole to,
I did some shopping.
Yeah, do some shopping. And Charles is so, like, is mad at him and explaining that this wasn't, like, this wasn't just random computers that they were doing, that this was all, like, a plan. Last episode, he made the revenge line at the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this guy didn't put it together until now, but...
I don't know. I mean, he's a common goon. We don't know.
That's true. He is quite the goon.
Quite the goon. Mr. Charles' voice acting is so good. Like,
oh yeah,
he's this is
delightful.
like when you said last episode about him going like full Lex Luthor. Like, this is it, where he's like, there's a kink in the works. What do we do? I've got it. Let's figure it out.
We gotta move up the timeline.
Yeah.
We need to get me out now.
Yeah, we gotta fix this. He's so good. He's actually like genuinely scary in this. Like, before he was kind of genuinely scary because he was like the head of something, and like, I guess in Exit, like, he holds Connie hostage, but like that would be the extent of this. It's like, no, this is a criminal mastermind who is, he crosses all the T's and dots all his I's, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
Which is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we go
back to Whit, right?
Yeah, it's Whit and Mitch talking initially, and then they because he's talking about the fact that he, like, oh, this must have happened when I took my computer in to be repaired.
Yeah, because
why does Mitch need his computer repaired? This guy is supposedly the computer, like, whiz.
Maybe he knows software, not hardware.
Shut up, Andrew. That's a good argument.
I don't know.
You're doing
as one
so
who knows,
well.
as
You're
one who knows hardware, not software.
Yeah.
I can build a computer pretty well. I can, do other stuff, but when it comes to like installing Linux, I couldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
A 49.5-foot pole.
Anyway, they're just like going to people's homes now. Mitch and Whit.
They're going to.
Yeah,
they're
going
actually.
to. Yeah,
they're
like,
talking about.
We're gonna go to people's home and see if they have like specific, like, suspicious stuff. Where it's like, your TV looks awfully new and exactly the size that I ordered.
Yeah.
Whatever. How are you doing that? I don't know. The fridge at Wit's End is broken, and that is a tragedy that is not discussed enough because there's a repairman there. Unless it's just regular servicing.
Right, and then that was the impetus for Mitch realizing that the computer repair thing. And then we have I don't have in my notes how we get from there to this, but we have Whit and Connie talking.
Yeah, which is so good.
Yeah, it is. She's just talking about trying to like figure out God's will.
Yeah.
And Whit has a line that's like, I don't think God's will is as mysterious as you think.
Yeah.
which is
Pretty good.
It's a good line.
Well, and the way he gets to it is like, if I was gonna have a birthday party, what would you do? And Connie's like, oh, like this,
lemon
and this.
poppy seed cake with raspberry filling.
I wrote that
you
down.
know, friends, no gifts because they make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Only a couple close friends, like that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
And then, you know, he uses that as the connection of like, you know, yeah, I never told you this, but you hung out with me enough that you know this. And you know this about me and what I would want. And it's like, oh, Whit, oh, you're a good sweet old man, aren't you?
Yeah.
Your lemon poppy seed cake.
Yeah.
Underrated cake. I love lemon poppy seed cake.
It's a good, like, yeah, it's a good scene. And I there's a couple points during this episode where I'm so, like, I am so behind Whit again.
Oh, yeah. And it's such a good feeling, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's some stuff with the God's Will thing where I was like, I wish he had gone further out of his way to be, like, the thing that I have come to feel over these last few years, which is, it's not as though there is a perfect path set out that you need to follow.
Yeah.
Rather,
Do your best.
follow the Bible.
Yeah.
And don't make large decisions that are contradictory to to your understanding of the Bible.
Exactly.
And like, that's being in God's will. It's not like, we've got this perfect path and like, you gotta find it, and if you stray outside of that, even if you're doing something that is good but it's not exactly what you need to do, then you're out of God's will.
Yeah, like somehow like you are a cog that can only do one thing, and if you twist the other way, then you are the worst sinner ever, and you're making a horrible mistake, and God has given up on you.
Yeah, so much of my faith journey over these last few years has just been like coming to grips with, you know what, like, me doing my best is good enough. Like, I don't need
trying
to,
is enough.
Right, like, I don't need to hold myself to this, like, you gotta, like, do everything perfectly, otherwise, like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, and if you as a person are living in an attitude of like being like Christ, like trying to emulate his love and his actions and all that, like, that has to come first before like you're going to walk out the path. Like, if you love me, keep my commandments. Like, that's, you know, that's what Jesus says to, I believe it's Peter. And I think, like, this whole thing where it's like, when you're placed with two very human situations, it's very easy to look for the response like a human would, which is there's only one right one, and then that means the other one is wrong.
Right.
And
things aren't that binary.
No, and especially with when it comes to God's will.
Right. Unlike your outfit, the world is not black and white.
Exactly. It is entirely black and white. Yeah.
It's mostly black.
Yeah.
So we go from Whit's advice segment to Mitch talking to the repair guy at the shop he took it to, where he's trying to figure out who specifically repaired his device, and the guy's like, well, there's only two of us here, but we outsource to other people, Campbell College, other repair shops, that sort of thing.
He sounds like the bad guy from Monsters Inc. He sounds like the purple
Randall.
Yeah. He sounds like him.
That's
like,
funny.
Ever since the first time I listened to this episode, I was like, Randall?
Yeah, the guy is like weirdly dodgy in like a way that I don't think he's supposed to be a dodgy character.
Like sleazy pocket protector, like
yeah.
But don't want to see a search history kind of guy.
Yeah, but he's talking about like, oh, like we outsource a lot of stuff, and Mitch is like, oh, can you just like pull up who repaired it? Like, I need to talk specifically to that technician. And the guy's like, oh, well, like, our system's currently down.
Yeah.
At which point Mitch says, who repairs your computers? And the guy responds, that's funny. You must write comedy for a living.
Yeah.
Which is a burn.
Yeah.
And also,
sick burn.
Mitch didn't deliver the I honestly,
he didn't say it like it was a joke.
I think it was written as a punchline.
Yeah.
And Mitch, like Steve Burns enacting it, he's asking it more like, who repairs your computers?
Yeah.
As a question, whereas I think it's supposed to be who repairs your computers?
Computer repair man.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Oh, well.
And then we go, so he doesn't get any information, and he goes back to Wit for one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Which is him, because it's a scene that I relate to so deeply.
Oh, yeah.
Of being in that thing where you're trying to process through a lot of weighty decisions, and you don't really know where you land on any of them until you are saying them out loud to a person close to you.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like, everything starts to be like, oh, those are my priorities, this, that, and the other thing, which is, in this instance, is Mitch being like, you know, if it wasn't for Connie, I would join the FBI in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's so much...
She basically said, he lays it out like, this is like what I want to do. I love doing this. And then what's holding you back? And he's like, well, a lot of things. Well, really one thing.
Right.
And that's Connie. And then he goes on to say, like, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it's so good. It's like, yes, Mitch.
It's love, so much love. It's great. And it's like him not really realizing, because it's a thing of both, like, this could be played in a way where he's like, like, the one thing holding me back is Connie.
Yeah.
But it's played so differently where it's like, no, like I would do, like, I want to do this FBI thing. This is what I feel like I'm made to do. But there's a lot of other things in my life. And then him realizing, like, no, there's just one thing. And that's not a bad thing. That's just like a revelation of like, oh man, like,
this is simpler
Connie
than I thought.
is such a big deal to me.
Yeah.
That she is keeping me, like, or that I'm basing this, like, the only misgivings I'm having about this decision are because, like, I'm so in love with this girl.
Yeah. And
like,
you can't bear the thought about leaving them.
Right. And that's such, like, an incredible realization for him to come to.
And Whit does it, like, lets him come to this situation himself. He doesn't, like, talk down to him.
So passive and supportive in this moment.
Yeah, it's such a good Whit moment.
Opposite of, like, what we've been getting from Mitch. And it just makes sense in, you know, Mitch doesn't have, like, close ties to too many Odyssey people, so it makes sense for it to be Whit.
Well, and also, Whit does get him to solve his problem by following his heart.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm so here for it. It is such a good moment, and like, whether you agree with his actions following this or not is whatever, but that realization
is so I wrote good. Him, and the way Whit is throughout the whole thing, like, I wrote in my notes, I love Whit, which
we have not written many times in this show.
Which, I've had, you guys have experienced my journey of low points with Whit over the course of the Novacom, and so it was like delightful for me to feel like so much appreciation for him and relate so hard to Mitch, and I loved this scene. Yeah, it was absolutely so good. And we cut from there
to the prison,
back to the prison, where they figure out that they can't use the laundry truck to escape.
Yeah.
So Charles is going to escape in the garbage truck.
Yep. Delightful. Also, he says, I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into the works.
Yes.
The phrase is just wrench, right? Throw a wrench in the works?
Yes.
Works?
Yes, a monkey wrench is a thing, and throwing a wrench into a thing is also a thing, but...
A monkey wrench into a thing is... I guess by transitive property it ruins the saying? I don't know.
I mean, it works. It's just you know,
I thought it was funny.
An extra step. It is funny.
But it isn't like it's funny.
Yeah.
Deep dish, pizza, and...
Oh, yeah. That's the deep dish pizzas from the previous episode with Jack and Joanne.
But there's another...
But Connie makes reference to it when she and Mitch are
Well,
she's just kind of like doing the like saying her thoughts aloud in a way that doesn't actually make sense to the
Yeah.
listener. Well, it makes sense to us, but not to Mitch.
Yeah.
Which is something that Odyssey uses with some regularity. And it's a trope I kind of like.
Oh, yeah.
So
I have
no
written,
shade being thrown.
I have written in my notes that Deep Dish Pizza and Dad's Leaving is my favorite Killers song. So there you go.
That does sound like a song by the Killers.
Yeah.
You're right.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then
So yeah, we go from very villainous Charles.
sneaking away in a garbage truck
Yep. Back to Connie and Mitch.
at the
Yeah.
Mitch's apartment, presumably.
No, I think they're at Wit's End.
Oh, perfect.
Because Mitch went by Connie's house, Connie wasn't there.
Yeah.
Then he says he didn't wait. She was like, "Oh, you could have waited for me." He's like, "Well, I figured you'd come here eventually," which makes
Yeah.
me think it's probably Wit's End.
Yeah.
But Connie also, before we get to the big thing, is Mitch is talking about the whole getting pulled off the case by Borland, and Connie's like, "You don't want to make him angry if he might be your boss."
Smart Connie is smart.
Yep. I made the same point. I think the last episode,
Yeah.
where
Why
I
would
was just like, "You probably shouldn't do this, Mitch." And then Connie's just like, "Yeah, Mitch, that doesn't make a ton of sense."
Yeah. Don't piss off your.
Oh yeah. So before we get to the big thing, Charles's big villainous moment is him being like, "Oh, but like we gotta do something to throw him off the trail," and then being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I know what'll slow him down," which sets up for a beautiful scene that we're getting here.
Yeah.
So, Connie and Mitch is talking about his relationship or his conversation with Whit and kind of this realization he's coming to, and it's building and building and building, and Mitch proposes.
To Connie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So good.
It's a great. We'll get into the stuff like whether or not I agree with the decision, but from a scene perspective,
Yeah.
great.
So good. It
Their
builds so
conversation,
well.
like they've got such like a sweet conversation going on. There's like these great steps.
Yeah.
He has like his big moment. There's
It builds
Yeah.
so well. And then he proposes, and Connie freaks out.
Yep.
He's like, "Oh my gosh, like that's a ring, like is it real? Like oh
Yep.
my gosh." Does she say yes? I don't think she does.
She doesn't because
Yeah.
Aram.
We get error messages.
We get an Aram message.
And then Mitch is like, "Wait, I'm getting a message from that's AOL Instant Messenger or something." And then kind of says, "That sounds like Aram."
Yeah.
And then that's how the episode ends.
Yeah. Well, do we not hear a bit of Aram's voice saying like "Hello, Mitchell" or something?
Maybe I don't.
I think it's more than just the sound. I think we do get a little bit of the like vocoded voice, but still, it is.
Yeah.
It's a great plot moment, but it's also like subtextually incredible because it's Mitch is finally making this leap. He's ready to commit to Connie.
Yeah.
Yet his past, his connections with the FBI won't leave him. This is specifically like this is a persona that he created. Like
Yeah.
it's like his alter ego is now like coming in to like mess up this thing he's got happening. Like not that the decision is black and white, Connie or FBI. Like there's a meshing of the two that can
But
happen.
there's a side of it where it's like him showing his full, like he is fully on one side of the coin, like, "Connie, I love you and I want to marry you,"
Yep.
proposal. And then Aram sound coin flips and it's like, "Oh wait, I'm a secret agent and somebody's gonna try and kill me."
It's
so good.
It's incredibly like well set up, and we get that, you know, Charles being like, "Oh, I know how to, you know, throw a monkey wrench into this," and obviously it's not spoiling anything to be like that was the Aram thing. Like you get that in the episode.
Yeah.
But it's
So good.
yeah,
It's so
it's awesome for just from a storytelling perspective of being like, yeah, like he can be fully committed, yet there's, still a part of himself that he can't deny. And yeah, that's really great. Like, I love the way this scene is staged. That being said, should Mitch have proposed in this scenario?
No. But yes, I think that he was left with a very, that's a very easy conclusion to come to. All things considered, but my thought is, so the follow-up in this situation is Mitch is almost most definitely going to the FBI at this point. And by marrying Connie, the point is that he's securing her future with him in what he's doing. It makes sense. This man has a job. He can support her. Like, from a logistics standpoint, that's fine. Except for the fact that he's going to go away. She's going to stay in Wits End, presumably, until they get married. Unless she is to go and not live with him or live with him or something, or,
Right.
Problems that you would get with that. But so that you do leave with that, and then if she's back while they are engaged, then you have this whole, I'm planning a wedding and my husband is a secret agent and he's away, like, doing all this stuff like that. I've seen what engagement does to people, and it puts a lot of stress on the situation. And so for what that would be doing and how short of a period of time they've been together, I would say that's a bad idea. But I'm also like, if it works, it works.
Right. I'm not saying it's a thing of the getting married will just solve all the problems here,
and that's
without
not the case.
considering the fact that, like, a lot
You've
of
been
others
together
are
for,
going
like,
to be created. You've been together for, I mean, if we're going real lifetime, over a year. I don't know what the episode time is, but also you don't, like, you were dead for part of that time.
Yeah,
so,
you were dead, and, like, you being alive is only a fairly recent development.
And your last few months of relationship have been rough.
Yeah.
And marriage as a solution to a problem is not a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Mitch's, while I fully want Connie and Mitch to get married, that's a relationship that I want to get to that point. This seems like I just, like, had a revelation, figured it all out. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Without a lot of, like, okay, but what is this going to take? And also, I realize this is a conservative show that aired in 2003, but talk about marriage before you propose.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, obviously from what we see of this show, it is a logical conclusion that Connie would want to marry Mitch. But, like, don't do that. You need to both have a conversation, come to this decision together. It cannot be one person reaching that point and then making an ultimatum where the other person has to get there.
Yeah,
like,
and the idea that, like, I've gotten here and, like, you have to make a decision now, or, like,
right.
Like, yeah, there's so many
either you
there.
have to be ready now, or, like, our relationship, like, kind of falls apart, or, like, there's at least a big setback.
Yeah.
And stuff gets all out of whack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it is,
like, surprise, I want to marry you. What?
Right.
So, yeah, sure, I'll make this promise for the rest of my life.
It's just, his intentions are good.
100%.
But it's not particularly well thought out. I think that they're playing up, like, the show is playing up the, oh, isn't this like beautiful and romantic and all of those things? And from a listener perspective, it's like, well,
This
if we're
is a
taking
bad
this
idea.
if we're taking this at like full face value, there's like, it's too much too quick.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's kind of a like media tends to romanticize the really like dramatic
and like the
things. It's not just this show. It's
Well, and I would
literally
say
every proposal on a TV show.
Yeah, I would say even you know, I guess we've already done this and don't really feel the need to particularly bash it, but I would say that it is a attribute of the evangelical church or the conservative church, like you were saying, to have this kind of be the mindset where it's like we said, you don't need to date for that long. Right. Like, you can just solve, like, I mean, if you don't get married, like, why are you dating? Like, what are you doing? Like, right. You're just killing time. Like, what? There's so much more to it that this approach doesn't quite acknowledge. And also, I was thinking, like, I think the ideal scenario is Mitch goes, joins the FBI, waits, we'll say, minimum 2 months, probably
they do the
upwards,
long distance thing.
Upwards of 6 months,
right?
Or like I'd say 2 to 6 months, and then Connie can come visit, Mitch can come visit, he'll get time off, whatever.
Because, I mean, as we're also hitting, like, if he joins the FBI and marries Connie, that is 2 huge transitions at the same time.
Exactly.
Like, you don't put your life events.
And if Connie were to stay
together.
back, then she would have to come to grips of, my boyfriend is gone, but we are married, and now I have to figure out what's next in this marriage thing. Like, I run a wedding planning like business. Like, this is what I'm into. Like, I've somehow got to, I've got to do, plan my dream wedding while also grieving over the fact that my boyfriend is gone, or fiance, I suppose, in this hypothetical.
Right.
And literal, actually, because he does propose. But
yeah, but we don't know if she says yes.
Exactly.
Because Aram interrupted.
Aram?
Well, we can say Aram now. It's no longer a spoiler.
Oh, thank goodness. That was rough.
The number of times I cut Andrew saying Aram before we found out it was Robert Mitchum, I was like, it's not really a spoiler, but it also bothers me that he's saying Aram.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because as a listener, when you hear it for the first time, that is a bit of a reveal.
Yeah. I have mixed emotions, too, because we did have three episodes where you and I both had, especially the one, the It's All About Me episode.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I have strong issues with their relationship at this point, and was pretty sad about it.
But I'm still
Sorry about
rooting
that one,
for
guys.
it so hard.
But to go from that to, okay, great. Over the course of these 2 episodes, we've gotten a lot of them talking to each other and to the people who are important in their lives about their relationship, which is awesome and we so desperately needed. However, I could do with a little bit more time before Mitch pops that question.
Yeah, and a bit more of a, I hate to say progressive, but a bit more of a progressive approach of, like, talking about this as a thing.
That being said, dude, I really want Connie and Mitch to get married.
Oh, like, 100%, yeah.
Like, from a narrative point, I am so invested in their relationship. I can, like...
There's nothing more than I want to have that be a universe. They get married, they have, like, kids, they have, like, the witty banter, like, we learn lessons about, newlyweds figuring out how to live together, and, like...
Yeah,
I want that so bad.
It could be so... Like, it's so easy for me to, in my mind, just kind of, like, gloss over all the bad stuff and just be like, no, but, like, they have great banter, good chemistry, I like them both a lot, like, marry them off.
Yeah.
And so, it's not... I've never had any sort of issue with their relationship until doing this show.
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
they are an OTP for me.
There you go. Exactly. That's a reference.
Is that still relevant? I don't know.
I'm fine with it.
but yeah. So that's, I don't know. Those are, I'm so ready to do to do the conclusion to this. We've got so much building. We ended last episode with that huge bombshell of Charles. Now we end this one with the huge bombshell of
Charles.
of the wedding and
Yeah.
Aram. Like it's or of the proposal and Aram. Like
so good.
These episodes are
so good.
great. They are balancing all of the spy intrigue stuff that I love
With the relations,
relational
and such good production
good
value.
Conversations, great music, like
dank prisons. The dankest of prisons in all of Odyssey. Presumably not Odyssey, but yeah.
These episodes made me really happy.
Yeah, I love this trilogy so much.
Yeah. You got any
good show.
Got any more, like, I don't know, general thoughts?
No,
You wanna hit on?
I don't remember how this ends. This is as far as I remember and my listen through. So I'm sure when I listen through it to prep for the next episode, it'll come back to me. But I am sitting with much suspense because I don't remember. And I'm so excited.
Well, we'll be back in a week. Before I say that, I guess plugs.
No plugs.
Yeah, me either.
Plug free.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
525 here today, gone tomorrow. Part 3, the final part. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 33, Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, Part 2, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the Wadfam Chalk Pod.